Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and Pokemon fans of the world, MegaCrasher is here, and I want to present you guys a video that is going to keep the hype going for Pokemon Sun and Moon. And it's a type of video that I haven't actually, you know what? I have never done a video like this before, so consider this a first time. What I have here are some designs for Alolan Pokemon that I would love to see be implemented on the following Pokemon that you are about to see, but rather than them being in regular forms, they are going to be in the prestigious, amazing, and absolutely beautiful and breathtaking Alolan forms. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into the first entry, and this list has no particular order. All of these designs are absolutely amazing, so let's go ahead and get started, baby. So, the first Pokemon on this list is a Pokemon that, in my opinion, deserves more than any other Pokemon in Alolan form, and I'm talking about none other than Tropius. Tropius, whether it's in Alolan form or not, screams tropical Pokemon, considering that the Alola region is in fact a very tropical region. Then it would make absolute 110% perfect sense to give Tropius an Alolan form. So I figured that with a design like this, we scrap the flying typing completely and make it just a pure grass typing. And that right there would cut down its 4 times weakness to ice. And we take a look at the abilities here. The first ability that would absolutely fit it like a glove on a hand would be Harvest. Because you take a look at the design of Alolan form Tropius. It has fruit growing from underneath its neck and from over its big batch of leaves. I mean, the thing grows a ton of fruit. Like, I'm seeing some pineapple, I'm seeing some bananas, I'm seeing what looks to be watermelon. Oh my god, like, this design would be perfect. Same with the ability, but, and this is a big but, my friends, the ability Thick Fat cannot be ruled out, as this would eliminate 2 out of 5 of its weaknesses, that being to ice and fire. Because what Thick Fat does is it cuts down the damage from ice and fire type moves by 50%, making this Pokemon just that much more of a tank to deal with in battle. I would absolutely lose my shit and question the logic of Nintendo if they did not give Tropius an Alolan form, or at least look into giving Tropius some sort of buff, some sort of spotlight, some sort of love, man, because this Pokemon is perfect as a candidate for an Alolan form. But ladies and gentlemen, we're just getting started on the list. Coming up next, what do we got? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the next entry on the list comes in the form of Lowland Absol. Now, this may be a little bit out of place and a little bit unusual at first, but check me out on this. So, we have Lowland Absol being a dark poison typing with the ability Corrosion. Now, why would there be such a drastic change here? Well, if we take a look back at regular Absol, you would know that regular Absol has a habit of living on places such as mountains. Now, this Alolan Absol would be living on mountains that are also volcanoes in Alola, seeing how it is a very tropical region, and you also have places like Hawaii that have volcanoes, and they spew out a lot of toxic ash and a lot of clouds and fumes. So with this right here, Absol would have to change and adapt in order to be able to survive in that environment. So therefore it gains the poison typing, and with the ability Corrosion, it allows for you to poison the shit out of absolutely any Pokemon regardless of their typing. Even poison and steel type Pokemon get poisoned. I still can't wrap my head, my arms, my legs around something like that. That is absolutely insane. And that is why this design would fit perfectly for Alolan Absol. And I hope that Game Freak does something like this. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not through yet, because coming up next, we got something big! Yeah, I kinda wasn't lying when I said that we have something big. If you thought that Golurk was a massive mass of ground and ghost type terror, take a look at Alolan Golurk. Now this, like Lowland Absol, seems to be very, very out of place, but just check me out on this. So first of all, we have ground and fairy being the new typing for Alolan Golurk, and also a first type combination as well, which would be very, very unique by itself, and the ability would be Mold Breaker, meaning that there aren't going to be any abilities that are going to be affecting the moves of this Pokemon. Now, why does it become a ground fairy typing? Well, note especially the fairy typing. Note that, okay? Note the typing of Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is electric and fairy. This is ground and fairy. You see where I'm driving at here? What if this happened to be one of the 4 Island Guardians? Can you imagine how crazy that would be? And I mean, if Nintendo pulled a huge swerve like this, we would be losing our shit because we would not have been able to expect something like this. But chances are, you know what? I can't even say that Nintendo wouldn't do something like this because it's not too late. I mean, we're still 2 months away from Pokemon Sun and Moon, so literally anything can happen between now and the release date. Oh my god, I'm so excited. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this design right here is perfect because you have the really angry Tiki face in the middle of its torso, as well as the 2 Tiki masks for shoulder pads, as well as flames coming out of it, and it just looks so incredible. It looks amazing. But ladies and gentlemen, speaking of amazing, you guys gotta check out the next entry! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at Lowland Aegislash. Like, really just pause for a moment, drink this design in, and really appreciate how amazing this is. I mean, you wouldn't think that Aegislash would be able to pull off having an Alolan form, but this design proves that theory wrong and everything else, because this is perfection when it comes to an Alolan designed Aegislash. Oh, absolutely amazing. I, even right now, find it very hard to come up with properly structured sentences to be able to explain how I feel about this design. I swear to God, if Nintendo came up with a design like this for Alola Aegislash, like, I would be flying in space. I would be blown so far up in the sky that I'd be floating and orbiting around in space, man. It's incredible. But anyways, we get to the typing, which is steel and water. Now, it keeps the steel typing, but because it's a water typing, that means that it had to adapt from changing from a ghost typing to a water typing due to the change in environment, because it is a very tropical environment with lots of water, and this right here embodies the spirits of water and surfers and the land and all that stuff. This typing is surprisingly fitting and surprisingly perfect. Next, we take a look at the ability, and like regular Aegislash, Lowland Aegislash is going to have the ability stance change because of the fact that it is a sword and shield. Now, speaking of the design itself, take a look at what appears to be the shield. It has a very menacing and evil-looking Tiki mask, and below it appears to be a collar lined with sharp rows of spikes. And you take a look at how this Pokemon is comprised of wood and steel. That's because that this wood is hard like steel. Oh my god, this right here would be absolutely amazing in battle. Like, can you imagine a Lowland Aegislash, a steel water typing with completely different stats and like a different move pool? Scald, Hydro Pump, Surf. Oh my god, this would be absolutely amazing. But ladies and gentlemen, speaking of surfing, coming up next, check this design out. Surf's up, brah, because we have a Lowland Scrafty. Oh my god, this design! Oh my, this is incredible! Like, I love how they made use of a surfboard as being part of Scrafty's body, because you see that it comes out of the tail. This is incredible! And just the design, like, it literally looks like a surfer with a long blue mohawk, and it has, like, what appears to be a flotation device wrapped around its neck. It has a camouflage vest, camouflage pants, It is absolutely amazing. So the typing becomes that of water and fighting. Or fighting and water, whatever. It doesn't make a difference, man. This is incredible. Fighting and water. And this right here is a very amazing type combination and also a very appropriate typing for a Lowland Scrafty because this Pokemon loves to be around water, hence why it has the surf form. Now, one of two of its abilities is Swift Swim, and Swift Swim would work very well, not just because of its design, but also because if it was under the effects of Drizzle or Rain Dance, this speed would be doubled, and it would be absolutely amazing. Now, Water Absorb is also another ability that this Pokemon would definitely benefit from having. Not to mention, it would be very appropriate too because this Pokemon, considering that it lives around the water since it surfs around, might as well make it immune to it with Water Absorb, restoring 25% of its maximum health whenever it gets hit by a water-type attack. That means that you'd be drinking down them Scalds, Surfs, Hydro Pumps, Bubbles, you name it, baby. Woo! Oh my god, I love Alola! But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude for now my list of Pokemon that I would love to see have Alola forms. There will definitely be a second part because I am just only getting started, man. But I didn't want to make the list too long. I wanted to give you guys a fairly sized list and a fairly sizable video. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you fire off a like. And let's see if we can keep that Pokemon Sun and Moon hype going by aiming for 20 likes. And if you want more content like this, make sure you rate, comment, share, and subscribe today to MegaCrasher in the community for the best, and I mean my god, the best Pokemon Sun and Moon news hype that there is today on YouTube, because you already know the deal by now, my friends. When we're community type Pack-Ton is one, you know that we shine brighter than the sun and the moon combined, because we are the most hyped community that there is on YouTube when it comes to Pokemon content, Pokemon channels, Pokemon communities, Pokemon everything! So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next upload!